Okay, folks, welcome back. Well, getting a little closer every time. I think what we're going to do at this point is we're going to do some, we're going to put some details on the harpoon, and then we'll go to weathering this thing. Because right now it looks a little bit, it looks shoddy, but that's just par for the course at this point. I would not be happy leaving it like this, so. All right, so we're going to come in here and we're going to paint some things with some metallic colors. Let's get a little bit of water here to work with. And that while this is drying, we can work on the weathering, which is pretty darn quick. Got our iron base warriors. I don't even know if it's still called that or they call it something different. Good morning. Have a blessed day. You too, man. Woke up with a little bit of a headache. I think it's going away. Wasn't too bad. If it was too bad, I wouldn't be doing this. Just go ahead and paint all this in this color. This is definitely going to be a rusty looking harpoon. Well, it's going to have some rust stuff on it. Corrosion. I'm going to go ahead and do this too. Even if I go in there and change the color of the metal, like if something of this might be bronze or something, not the actual, not the actual poon. What do you call the thing that harpoon fires? The poon. And we're not going to leave it like that. That would be too basic. We can do better than that. You know what I say? If you can do better than that, well, then do better than that. All right. What other metals do we have? I looked at some pictures of some of these things, and they're all over the place. Pictures of harpoons are all over the place. You have ones that are like all painted the color of the, harpoon cannons that look like this. They're all over the place. Some of them are all the same color. Some of them are all metal. Some of them have different pieces that are metal and aren't. I thought I had some more of this. I guess I don't. You sub, thank you. I haven't, I'm surprised. I haven't had these huge calls. Maybe there was no interest in it for me to film games. I haven't done it because I'm just not ready to do it yet. I'm going to do this. This part here, and just a little different metal. Like it's made out of a different metal. And same thing with this cylinder down here. Maybe people aren't interested. Maybe they are and they just haven't thought about it, I think that if people wanted me to film games, I still wouldn't have done one yet. So maybe it's a good thing that they're not pushing me to do that, because I don't think I want to film a game after work. It's just way too much work. And the last couple of weekends that I played, it was, to get somebody that's not familiar with a game familiar with it. I don't really want to do hey, learn how to play this game. Oh, by the way, we're going to film you. What the hell, huh? Hey, it's not like it's difficult to figure out, but especially because, I feel like everybody we play with, we kind of help them out. Not that I'm like a genius or something, but we've played a few times. Is it different enough? I don't know. Sometimes you do all this subtle stuff and it's not. I think that's enough. Now let's go in with a lighter color metal. That was Iron Warriors, which is the darkest one. And let's bring it up to this one. This is Ironbreaker. Another good name for a mech or a robot or a Gaslands car, or, Of course, this is, again, I saw a really cool example of a vehicle that somebody put together, kludged together by a lot of different sources. So they put some thought into it. They didn't like do it overnight. And the guy's like, hey, here's my finished model, but I don't know what it's called. I'm like, man, you spent like 40 hours to think about it. I don't know. He probably didn't spend 40 hours on it. He spent a significant amount of time. That's one of the most fun things to do. Is I want to name the vehicle before it's out. That way somebody can't say, hey, why don't you call it this? I'm like, shit, man, that's part of my creativity, man. You're killing my creativity. Maybe some people just don't care, but I think naming the vehicle is one of the most, or the theme of it is the most exciting part. It's more exciting than playing the game, honestly. For me. So I had this thing named even before I even owned the ambulance. Better call the Whambulance. Well, that's a good name for a vehicle. And this morning I was just thinking, you know what? There's no reason to have only one ambulance. If you had another ambulance, what would I call it? Painkiller. painkiller would be my ambulance, and it wouldn't look anything like this. So I don't own another ambulance yet. Do I? No. I may, but it's not a traditional ambulance only. Because they have a lot of vehicles that are like, fire truck / ambulance. I mean, like a dedicated ambulance. Okay, now I've seen some of these harpoons with like a red tip on them, and I kind of like that, really maroon. So I may do the tip maroon, but I'm going to go here with the good old mithril silver. And this shaft is going to be stainless. I'm going to put these edges in this bright as well. I don't know if I'll leave it that way. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to weather the whole ambulance, see what it looks like, and see if at that point I'm going to want a red or a primer red tipped. Weapon. All right, put that away where it goes. All right, weathering time. See, can I grab this and not mess any paint up so I can get a visual on how this is going to potentially look like? There we go. That's a little bit better. And then we still have the claymores to paint on the side here. I guess I should paint those. And the 55-gallon drums. I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to paint the 55-gallon drums with the same color I'm going to paint the claymore. There'll be military. Oh, this might actually be handy. Oh, yeah, there we go. Get a better look at the colors. Let's see if I can kill this. That's even more helpful for now. Okay, what colors do we have here? We have U.S. dark green. I have a feeling this is a watery ass color. That could be one of them. No, don't want to use Field Gray for this one. Refractive green. I think between one of these two should be able to work pretty well. Okay. Let's get Mr. Black out here and try not to get it all over our fingers. I've got that water contaminated with some metal flakes. Come over here. Get a fresh one. All right, let's see what we've got here. U.S. dark green and refractive. Let's start with refractive. It's the darker of the two. This is one of these colors that I replaced relatively recently ago. FDR 314, welcome. Number 67, black. I don't know about 67. That's just a regular craft paint. I use black and white in everything I paint in my painting style. I just always have. You blame it on Games Workshop Heavy Metal Painting Guide from circa 1993 that I got back in 1993. All right, we're going to take these little claymores. And we're going to paint all of them in this color. I'm going to kill this light. No, that's worse. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's just you know what happened is, okay, so I had all these Vallejo paints that I got mail order. And I mail ordered them from Brookhurst Hobbies. And I mailed order them from Brookhurst Hobbies because the only people that I knew that had them back in the early 2000s or something like that. And the first colors I ran out of were white and black. And there was nowhere in local to get Vallejo colors. So I'm like, let me just use craft paint for the black and the white. And it works just fine. So I kind of get in the habit of, I have black Vallejo, I have white Vallejo. I don't usually use them. Not usually. I've just kind of got in a habit of doing that. It's certainly the paint that I waste the most. And they're the colors that especially black over white, because if you have white highlights, it doesn't use that much of the white. The white's the really powerful pigment, and I'd say the black one is powerful too, but I find myself using them no matter what I'm doing. So I bought this craft paint, and the folk art is not bad. It's thick. Well, it's like it's almost like a Liquitex. Like, yeah, I guess you could use Liquitex also, But where am I going to put tubes of paint? Now we've already got racks and stuff that all this stuff fits in. So this stuff works. It lasts a really long time. Okay, that's the little claymores. Why you got claymores on the side of the ambulance? It's what they call an explosive ram. So it's good one time and that's it. And then after that, it's just a regular side of a vehicle. Now I've already painted these metal. I'm just going to wet brush, kind of like a dry brush, but with more paint on it, the outside of these 55-gallon drums. So we still have some of the metal showing. Well, the headache went away, so that's a plus. The rest of my day is going to be a breeze then. I didn't have very heavy a one, but... All right, let's add more green. We'll come back and we're going to go and highlight these raised spots on the claymore again. Hearing clicking in my ear. It doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen very often, but it's like I haven't even been listening to anything very loud. But I had bad hearing for decades. Yeah, it went away. Yeah, this is a lot more work to paint than say that little rat thing, the ram rat. I think people just like things that look very Mad Max-ish. And the problem with that is then every vehicle becomes that corroded type color. And you can't have like 40 vehicles and they all kind of look the same. Like I can't do that. You know, I could have taken this ambulance body and just made it look real, like a nightmare, right? Like something you'd see in your dreams and scare you. As, at least as a little kid. All right. And I think we've done this. Let's go over a few areas more, make sure we got that. And then we're gonna add a little bit of white to this color. Something like that. Hello, how are you? Good, how are you, man? Happy Tuesday. Short week this week. All right, we're going to take a little bit of white. This is my folk white art. I got all kinds of different brands. A lot of these I commandeered from the craft paints that we had, that my daughter and her friends had growing up. We buy. I guess this apple barrel one will work just fine. Apple barrel is kind of watery, so it tends to get everywhere. Go get a hobby, man. You don't want to know. Okay, so we're gonna add some of this base color and just a tiny little bit of the white. WSG. I don't know what that lingo is. What am I doing? I'm painting this Matchbox. It's not a Hot Wheels. This is actually a Matchbox ambulance that we have added weapons to, and is for a game called Gaslands. It's like Car Wars, but you play it with die-cast cars. There we go. Add more of this highlighting here. Make these little features pop. See, this alone made it look so much better than just having these things painted black, just sitting there. Now we're still going to do weathering. And this white looks like, man, it's just not painted very solid. It'll look fine. And I can only say that because I've done this many times, and I've been happy with the results. But I'd be like, nah, it doesn't look like it's painted very well. Well, it'll all come together between the weathering and the drippings, as I like to call them. It will all come together. All right. Now we got these barrels here on the back. I'm going to use this other green just to be different. Just to be different. It's not significantly different, but I don't like using the same color all over and over again. Mr. Tim, welcome. Welcome back. Do you have problems with your last name? People wanting to call you Ride? I take it it's Reed. But there's a lot of different ways to spell Reed. R-E-E-D, R-E-A-D, the way you spell it. Probably a few others I haven't thought about. Oh, here we go. We're flirting with disaster here. This is an old paint color. Probably 25 years old. That I've used hardly at all. Let's scoop some of this out. It's just a little less green. More drab. I may go through all this trouble and then it's like, should just paint it the same damn green. Got none on our fingers, okay. I'm trying to do shakes hand with danger. Chachi Bear, you just joined. Speaking of Chachi, not really, but it's what I thought about when he said Chachi. Man, I got to get my Mexican lowriders here rolling. I keep coming up. I've been talking about making this vehicle for so long, and the 3D parts were specifically for this thing. So that's why I had to jump ahead and do this. But my Mexican lowriders, my redneck team, they definitely need more. They need more folks. We've only played one game with teams, really, and not even multiple people on the same team. Yeah, it's a little bit different. I just don't want to leave this just metal color barrels, right? Okay, that's all I'm going to do with it for now. Those are going to have some heavy weathering, and it looks like they've got some cables or something holding them in place. So we have to paint that afterwards because we want those to stand out. And here's the harpoon. Okay, so what do we do next? We're going to try to avoid these, in this stage, we're going to try to avoid the barrels in the back because they're still wet. All right, so we're going to grab the triad of colors I use for weathering that I got ideas from in the basing from many years ago from Flames of War. And that's chocolate brown, U.S. field drab, and Iraqi sand. And the reason I got the idea from them is it's very different just looking at stuff and looking at your colors and deciding what color you want to use, or use like triads that they have examples on there of, I forget what the article was, desert basing or something like that. And they had like all these little bases with the goop on them, right? So it looks like dirt, and they painted them all like the first color, then the dry brush, the second one, and then the final one. And when you paint something in one color, you realize whether you like it or not immediately. When you're doing a dry brush triad, you don't know if you like this set until you've done all three. So you could waste a lot of time doing that. So that's kind of, I use that as a kind of like a quick check. And I use this weathering for all of my other stuff primarily. So we're going to do chocolate brown. The mistake I think that a lot of people do with dry brush and they're not happy is they don't do enough different layers. And you can't just do like, okay, I did a dry brush of brown, like just one brown. Yeah, it doesn't work. I mean, you won't be happy with it. I mean, you could, but I wouldn't be. Yeah, it's actually, this one's actually not a Hot Wheels. Most of mine are Hot Wheels. This one's a Matchbox from 1977. And I actually bought this used and digged up because they don't make it anymore. It's hard to find ambulances. And I wanted a boxy ambulance, a boxy classic type ambulance. So let's get some chocolate brown here. And let's get a dry brush we don't mind abusing. I mean, I don't want to abuse it, but it happens. Say something like this. This is just a kid's art paintbrush thing. A dandelion. I never liked lions growing up. I was more of a tiger fan. It's the mane, I think. The mane's kind of weird. Think about it like a bearded tiger or something. I don't know. All right, let's get almost most of this out. And let's see if we can grab this and let's just lose the harpoon for now. Let's grab this in a place that hopefully we don't have anything painted, so we don't have to do any repairs. And we're going to go across the bottom. Start with the tires. Lots of people with vehicles on the Gaslands, they make a big deal out of replacing the tires. I couldn't care less. Unless the tires look terrible, I'm going to keep the same wheels it came with. It's too much work. You know, and then I've got a bunch of pieces parts that don't go together. So we're just going to come in and add this dried mud stuff. You don't want to go too heavy because remember, you got two other colors to do on top of it. And we're only doing this color brown towards the bottom. But we do want to do the front here where it would have caught. We're trying to make this thing look realistic, even though it's a toy. Trying to fool people into thinking it's a real car, real vehicle. Same thing here on the bottom. I don't want to go too heavy because I've got two other weathering colors to put on top of it. I see the cans are pretty much dry at this point. And most people would think, well, this should be what you do last, but I actually do the drippings last because you don't want to do all like really good dripping work and then cover over it with this. Yeah, it's modify that. Okay, that's all we're going to do with this color. That's enough. So now we go to US Field Drab. I can't say any jokes because I can only remember one, and it's inappropriate. It's not one I want to say on my channel. It doesn't have any, racist terms or anything like that. It's just crude. You know what? The reason I remember it was told to me by a girl. Almost 30 years ago. Almost. We're going to go over the same area. And also go up a little bit higher, because this is mud or whatever groundwork this is, and it's, I don't make my vehicles all like destroyed and all like industrial stuff, but I do weather them a fair amount. It's not like they're going to go out of there in showroom quality. I just don't want everything looking like black and rust and steel. Black rust and steel and corrosion. Because then it makes every vehicle look the same as every other vehicle. And I don't really want that. Okay, now we're up to and then we do the Iraqi sand. That one we go in a lot more places than these other ones. And that kind of ties everything together. Now, depending on how much of this is left, I may rinse this, or I may not. This is fine. Problem with rinsing a dry brush is then it's wet. Then you gotta dry it. They don't work. They don't get the achievement you're looking for many times if you're using one that's wet. So again, start in the wheels, because if you overdo it, it's okay. It's the wheels. And it's really pretty simple and straightforward. And there's other ways to do this that take a hell of a lot longer. And I'm happy with this. And you could make it look dusty. And see, now the cans are completely dry, so I can come in here and let's enhance some of this. And then we will make sure this is bright. We don't want this dark at all. Okay. Come in and do the edges. And we're going to touch some of this stuff up in the next stage a little bit. Dirty windows. Does not have glass back here? It doesn't have glass in the back. Wow. I did not know that. All right. We're not done with it. And I'm not worried about the harpoon for the dust part. It's way up there. This is the one, I'd say, the first step in making it look believable. The next step is what I call drippings. And that's kind of, I didn't always start doing that. That's probably the last thing I've added. How we doing on time? Son of a bitch. Well, won't be able to do the drippings today. Won't be able to do the drippings. So that's what we'll do next time we come back to this, is do the drippings, which is adding little streaking and stuff like that. Corrosion, that kind of stuff. But anyhow, that's where we're at. It's time for the sand. It's Sand Mine 30. So anyhow, thanks for joining me, folks. We'll see you guys maybe later tonight and finish this thing up. Bye-bye.